This is a block of 3 flats, a 2-bed, a 2-bed and a 2-bed. And on the current planning permission, from 35 years ago, owner's accommodation with 2 holiday lets above. Now, I've risked it for a biscuit bit before I found out the exact details, which I wouldn't advise you doing. I would find out the exact details before, but I didn't have an in to figure it out. But under permitted development, wrong, under certificate of lawful use, I can apply for a planning change to have 3 separate flats. I know that there've been 3 separate flats for more than 20 years. The owners next door have lived there for 30, and as part of my supporting documentation, they can write and say it's been used as 3 separate flats for more than 10 years. But what's really handy is at the council tax has been going out as 3 separate flats for more than 10 years. So under their own criteria, they've, you know, if they were to try and fight it, their evidence tells them that it should fit the bill. I'm going through a chartered town planner to help push it forward. I could just do it all myself in the council's paperwork and stuff, but it's not my strong point. And because it's potentially going to release a lot of value, I think the town planner's going to really help me on this one. But it's looking dead positive that my idea of having 3 separate titles, 3 separate mortgages to release extra equity is going to work out. How long it takes?
How did you get the council tax paid evidence?
I rang up. Because they want me to pay council tax now, aren't they?
All right, okay. So council told you that there had been like 3,
since June 2009, I think.
There's a .gov website that you can check as well.
Oh, can you?
It doesn't go back as far on there, but it goes back about 8 years.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So I was 2 years out, but then she told me over the phone. Back on. So we're just sort of saying that I bought it on one title, knowing, and found out that the council tax has been split for 10 years. So under a certificate of lawful use, I should get planning to split it without going for a full planning act, which should increase the value of the property.
So 10 years is required, even if it's 8 years you're short?
Yeah, if you were at 8 years, so you can mortgage it for 2, and then in that 3rd year, when you're going for a remortgage or whatever, and you've dropped off your product, I think that'd be a sensible way of doing it.
Right.
So yeah, that's the certificate of lawful use bit, which is kind of handy. Yeah. Then for what we're going to do with it on the back end, on the numbers, I've got it as a buy-to-let, renting this 3-bedroom flat, a 2-bedroom flat and a 2-bedroom flat out. But from running my little networking event in Morecambe, I met a woman who manages service accommodation units on behalf of landlords. And she viewed it on Monday. She said, I see no problem with running this as 3 separate service accommodation units. I'd be happy to manage it. We could do with a cupboard in each property or somewhere communal to store linen, but apart from that, we'd be happy to do it as service accommodation. She's no problem with the occupancy and things like that. I'm not a stickler for numbers and detail. I'm just happy with people and their plan. And obviously if it's working with other people and they're making it work financially and it's better off than a buy-to-let, I'm happy with that.
When she was giving you the happiness that she's happy to manage, what sorts of occupancy rate did she mention anything like you could expect?
She said that from her circles, anybody working off 60% occupancy hasn't got a business. You want it full, and if you can fill it, which you should be able to through correct management, then get that occupancy rate right up. If you're renting it out to workers Monday to Friday, let's get somebody in Saturday, let's get somebody in Sunday. And if you're managing it right, you can do that and bring them occupancy rates right up. I think how you work with it on booking.com and things like that, minimum stay, things like that. For me, for a long-term perspective, I want to turn it into a bit of a brand. have its own sort of Facebook and Instagram, and then when the Eden project comes, which is something I don't think we spoke about yet, then we've got a good history. We've got a Facebook profile, we've got Instagram, and people can see what we're doing and then generate them direct bookings. And then over a longer term, that's when you're going to be making some good money.
Right.
So serviced accommodation, is that for workers in the week and leisure at weekends? Is that?
Yeah, that's sort of where we're looking at the moment. It's certainly how her business is running. Whether people specifically doing it one way or the other, I don't know.
And what is it? Is it, I don't know, 50, 60 quid a night for workers and 120 or something at weekends a night?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously the power station has outages,
Yeah.
and I know people have been doing it specifically to power station workers
Yeah.
and contractors that roll through the power station.
Yeah.
So they just target that market and don't work outside of it. Don't deal with holiday makers.
Yeah.
Just deal with specifically the power station.
They have always demand, you mean?
Well, people that are born and bred here work in the power station.
Yeah, right.
And they always have huge contracts for, even if there isn't an outage. So that there's always contractors
Yeah,
needing accommodation.
demand is there.
A mortgage, is it a, do you need a specialist mortgage, or are you just going to put on a buy-to-let mortgage?
So it's my understanding through speaking to brokers that you can get a service accommodation mortgage, 75% loan to value, at about the same sort of rate,
Okay.
2 point something,
Yeah.
because the market's beginning to understand it.
Yeah.
You might need to shop around your brokers, maybe somebody more specifically into the commercial side of things that has a knowledge, or specialist service accommodation broker. I was speaking to a lady the other day who's thinking of doing that as her specialty,
Okay.
brokering service accommodation mortgages. So there are products out there.
Yeah.
Do you have to show some time of operation before you can get that sort of money? A couple of years ago they were saying that, they're saying service accommodation, you're not going to get a mortgage until you prove it works.
Yeah.
You still seeing that, or has it changed a bit?
I don't know. It'll get a mortgage on it one way or another. Either as a whole block, I'll mortgage it that way. Either as 3 separate things on buy-to-lets, or as service accommodation straight in. Whatever way it has to be done, I will find a work around it for the back end. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
And would you do a mix? I mean, just if you found that service accommodation wasn't quite what it was, you could have a long-term tenant in there.
Keep it as its current planning use.
Or
Have
mix it
owners
up.
accommodation who manages 2 properties above for me.
Just so you know your costs are
Covered
covered.
business wrapped up there, haven't I?
Yeah.
If I could do that, there's no reason why not. That's the joy of having such a big split property, is that you've got the choice to do whatever. So that's pretty much the plan, really. Do you have a